What if it is true that the external world is merely a reflection of our internal world? An internal world full of afflictions, incurred in countless of ways, often unresolved, passed on for generations. Humanity walking around wounded in victim consciousness, blaming the outside world and expecting the solution to come from an external source. Mahatma Gandhi said, "Be the change you want to see in the world." Self-healing and self-love seem key to this process, but most people would rather face an army of thousands before having to face themselves. Yet there are so many pathways to healing, and all it requires is our choice and intention to embark on the road back to alignment. As soon as we do this, the journey instantly begins.
We've been trying these same things for years. If only this, if only that, if only they would listen. And we keep saying them and they. And I would just want to say, hold on a minute, who are we saying them and they to? Can I own all of this? Can I own my response, my reaction to everything? And what if I stopped trying to be heard by other people and just heard myself? What if I stopped trying to see the problem and just looked inside and saw my own problems and gave that my full attention, my compassion, my love, my consciousness, my presence, my absolute presence?
When I stopped trying to save the world or save humanity and actually went, which part of me is needing recognition, needing love, needing healing at that deep level, which part of my soul is not yet embodied in here?
And the most powerful way to serve people is to work in childhood, because childhood is the foundation for what people are going to be and what their values and beliefs. And then specifically when you work with children, what's the most powerful time in childhood where you can affect the most change? And it's the first 1,000 days from conception until about 2.5 years of age.
It is of course fantastic that children can get educated. Still, I'm conscious that some of the programming that occurs in school can remove a child from its authentic essence. More and more parents are becoming aware of this and are actively bringing in a new balance.
Ik kan mijn kind niet in essentie houden als ik zelf totaal vanuit programma's met dat kind bezig ben. Dus ik zal toch eerst zeg maar met mijn eigen essentie vrij moeten maken en daar contact mee kunnen maken en van daaruit het contact met het kind maken.
For me, very early on, I could see that the system that was around me was very artificial. And at a young age, I think maybe 12, 13, I started inquiring, why is everyone living like a slave? I realized very early that a lot of how I function is the product of conditioning. I got into studying self-hypnosis and things about all that and realized that, well, actually we're constantly being hypnotized and constantly being imprinted with things at a subconscious level, and that most of how the slave system keeps people in slavery is that they've been conditioned and programmed to go along with it. They don't notice where they are. It's like hypnotizing someone to see a rose when they're looking at a daffodil.
But what is the first thing that any human, no matter in what level of intelligence is, as long as it's alive, the first beginning is one instant of consciousness that you are the spirit. That is the spark that creates the wildfire inside.
The spirit is like the architect of a building. It's the one that's got the plan and it's the boss.
What is complex and complicated is to remove all the conditioning and leave it behind.
The way people talk about spirituality, I can see why scientists don't want anything to do with it. But the way I talk about spirituality is that it is actually related to the electromagnetic activity of the Earth, of the solar system and of the galaxy.
There's different names for it. We could call it the etheric grid, we could call it the electromagnetic grid in a sense, we could call it the Earth's plasma body, the Earth's light body, depending on what school of thought. So the golden ratio is the formula that you would use for what they call the etheric plane or the etheric dimension. It's the structural template, the structural blueprint of nature itself, of the universe, etc.
I believe we've all got an inner song, and it's not fair to keep that from the symphony of life. So we might have, who am I to share my gifts? Who am I to share my talents? Well, it's
simply not fair for all those people looking for us and what we have to share, because they need us too.
I see such promise, not on the horizon, but within feet from where we sit right now.